What's up, boys? Welcome back to another guide, and today I'm going to show you guys a killer TvP timing attack. And it's not just a timing attack. We're going to pretend to play a macro game and then accidentally kill the Protoss, but not on accident. Are you guys still following? Probably not, right? Okay, that's alright. I'll explain everything. So, yeah, I'm actually gonna show you guys that it's like a fake macro build. It looks like it's a macro build, but instead we had a really strong timing attack. So it's kind of like a middle of the road build, I guess. If you don't really want to play macro games, but you don't like those early proxies and stuff, this could be the build for you. So we're gonna open up with a barracks gas, 1616, of course, as always. Now I don't know exactly where the build is from. I've been using it since like last year, I think. Last year there was a time where I was really unconfident in macro games against Protoss especially. So I made up a lot of these random timing attacks that actually ended up winning me a lot of games. So I definitely have a book full of those in my head, of course. I'm too lazy to actually write a book. And I'm gonna show you guys one of those today. So it's just gonna be a normal Reaper expand. This game is against Skillless, by the way, who's roughly the same MMR as me on the ladder. So it's a pretty even match. He might actually be higher these days as well. But even he was no match for the strategic god that I am. Get the CC down. I feel like in all my TvP guides I say the same, but I'm gonna tell you guys again, step by step. So I don't like to SCV scout usually unless I expect something, but if you want to be 100% safe, you gotta go for that 18 SCV scout. Now, if you want to be greedy like me, or you just have faith in the humanity, you know, then you can skip the SCV scout. That's the only part that's like skippable, I think. Besides that, I like to play really safe, so I'm gonna go for the Reaper Marine. I accidentally made the second gas before my bunker. Usually I get the bunker before my second gas, but this game it's okay. Also, I skipped over this replay quickly, and how is it possible that every single time I make a guide, I lose the Reaper? It's like, I always tell you guys not to do it, but every single time, I swear, honestly. At least I scouted this time what it was, so that's one thing, right? So, obviously you have to keep that Reaper alive. Now I scouted what it was, so it's okay. Obviously there's some adaptations again and stuff, right? So this game, because I lost the Reaper, I'm gonna go for that Hellion. Yeah, I think you guys know the drill by now, right? You lose the Reaper, you make the Hellion to scout. Even if I saw everything already, I just want to be sure, you know. Now, normally... Actually, I think with this build you can pretty much always make the Hellion, because this build is about getting a really fast Raven. So you only make either one Hellion or one mine. So I would say it's pretty safe to always get that Hellion, to be honest. Now, the only adaptation you make with this is when you see a Stargate. Obviously, when you play against DTs, the Raven opener is completely fine. That's the nice thing about Raven. You don't have to adapt to too many things. The only thing you do need to adapt to is Stargate play, because it could be Phoenix, it could be Oracle. So what I like to do against Stargate play is actually make a Cyclone. I'm gonna make a Siege Tank, but instead I make a Cyclone. If you want to be really safe, you can actually make the Cyclone with the factory before switching it around and just make this tech lab on the starport. Like, getting the Ravens super fast is not that big of a deal, but I would only do that if you know it's a Stargate, like 100%, and if you're afraid he's gonna send like his Oracle instantly, or, you know, something like this. But this is normally the way I would do it still. I would get the Raven now, and now I'm gonna make a Siege Tank with this one, but if it's a Stargate you can use it to make a Cyclone. Obviously, if you play Raven against Stargate, you have to be really careful to not lose it to Phoenixes. That's actually the hardest part. But even despite that, I still like to get the Raven against Stargate with this build. Alright, so this build is going to be a 1-1-1 triple CC. So we're actually not going to go into 3 barracks here, which sounds a bit weird, right? Because I told you guys we're going for a timing attack. But we're actually going for a 1-on-1 expand here. Now, if you play against Blink, Robo, DTs, I would advise you just to keep your Raven in the middle. In this case, it's nice to keep the Raven around here, because that's where an observer would most likely come in, right? And if they're not paying attention, they could lose it instantly. So the setup is very important. Like, you always, when you do a timing attack especially, you want to keep on top of your macro. So you lift the Raven away, and then you make this barrack, you make 2 barracks at the same time. You make this barracks on the tech lab already. And then this one is it's a bit far away, but it's gonna take over this tech lab after the second siege tank. Those 2 tanks are important to deal with blink attacks and stuff. If you guys remember, blink timing attack hits at about 5 minutes. The blink all-in. So with this build, you're actually gonna have 2 tanks ready for that if you make your 2 tanks on time. So that's what I like about this build. It feels really safe. So you survive the all-in phase, and then you go into a really strong timing attack yourself. You know, I feel like a lot of those pressures, those all-ins that Terran does, they would die if the Protoss cheese themselves or pressure themselves or something, you know. But I think this build is like, it slaps down the Protoss pressure, and then you can follow up with your own really strong timing. So once again, this barracks goes on a tech lab, and now the barracks is going to take over this one after the second siege tank. Now the most important thing about this build is to pay attention to your SCV count. Now in game, I don't know how many of you use it, but if you hover over the little icon in the top right, you can actually see the split between your worker and army supply. It doesn't work in the replay, sadly. But if you have a 100 supply and you hover over this, it's gonna tell you have I don't know, 48 SCVs and 52 army. That's a very easy way to check how much worker supply you actually have. So after the 3 barracks, you're gonna go for the double eBay. At this point, I'm totally passive, by the way. I scouted with my Hellion, and that's all I'm gonna do. Some Terrans send out the Raven. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna chill here. So it's a super passive build order. Now this is the first thing you have to pay attention to. So you have the 3 barracks finished. Then you go for the... those gas are actually supposed to be before the barracks, by the way. I'm pretty sure. So, well, it doesn't matter too much because you're all building everything at the same time on 44 SCVs. This is like when you stop producing SCVs for a bit around 44, so you can get all your buildings. And this is what's important for the timing attack, because everything looks like it's a macro game. If he would send an hallucinated Phoenix, he's gonna see double eBay 30C, but it's actually a 5 all in, okay? So you cut around 44 or 45 to make all your stuff. You get it's roughly the same time, so it doesn't matter too much. Don't worry too much about it. You get your 4th and 5th barracks, your 3rd and 4th gas. Then usually the order you do it, I'm not sure if I do it in the correct order this game, but you get stim first. Then you get your 1-1, and then you get your combat shields. That's the way it works out perfectly. And then after that, you SCV up to 47, 48. And this is actually quite important, because once... the mind games get to a higher level, of course. But once you land your 3rd, you want to be able to at least transfer a few SCVs. Maybe make a few more just to fake if he's on top of his scouting, which I doubt. Usually if a Protoss would see this, you know what's up, you know. You make your 4th base, you get your 2-2, you get your Storm and your Colossus and your carriers, whatever. Right? But if you wanna fake it, you go up to 48 because you have like a few SCVs building stuff over here, you know. So you're still... I messed up the gas here, but I'm perfectly saturated actually. And then you have a few SCVs to transfer here to sell the fake even more. The 5x are ready. Now, even with this build, if you play against Colossus, I would recommend you to get the 4 tech labs. Now this game, I don't think I scouted what I was going up against. I just knew it was a blink opener. Since it wasn't a robo opener, I decided to just go for, you know, an extra reactor. Against Colossus, I would get 4 tech labs because Marines suck against Colossus. But if you don't play against Colossus, you go for that tech lab reactor. So you end up with 3 tech labs and 2 reactors on those barracks. Now, as you can see, I'm not producing any SCVs, I'm just making units. And you actually need, just to say that, to fire some more SCVs. I actually cut a little bit early, as you can see. I told you guys to go up to 48. But you actually need that money to keep producing units and stuff. And this timing is going to line up with my 1-1. That's pretty much when I'm going to attack. My combat shields is a little bit late, but it's okay because you, as I said, you're just gonna attack with that 1-1, right? And combat shields doesn't take that long. And just to go back to make sure you guys get it right, because that's the mistake I made this game. My combat shield is not starting because I actually made my 4th and 5th barracks before these gases. And now you can see that I actually needed that gas to start all my upgrades, okay? So now I'm sure that you get your 3rd, 4th gas, and then your 4th and 5th barracks, even if the timing is very close to each other. That's the perfect way to do it. So then you have 2 tanks, that's gonna take care of the Colossus, the Stalkers, you know. And then you're gonna make a lot of mines from those, from the reactor factory. And as you can see, I'm not producing any SCVs. I'm just muling. You know, it's really hard for them to scout this, to be honest, because you have the Raven that's gonna kill all the observers. He has one over here, but like he's not gonna be able to see the mineral line. The most dangerous thing, I guess, would be an hallucinated Phoenix to scout this. But you can see my timing is still gonna line up very nicely. Combat shields would be a little bit late in case they would attack me. But obviously being attacked when I'm doing it all in myself is not the biggest problem. Gonna sell the bunker. You can see we have a lot of supply. And this is the most important part about this build, is that the 3rd CC double eBay timing is such a weird thing that look what the Protoss thinks, you know. They're on 70 probes. He has 5 observers. Just like, this is just a regular macro game, you know. He has 70 probes, there's 5 observers. He's making double upgrades. He's getting cannons in his mineral lines, you know. He's probably gonna start Storm when he has, I think it's 200 minerals, right? You see what I mean? This is the point. Like, this is a very weird site. If you go 1-on-1 3cc, like, I also instantly flew my 3rd when it was an orbital, and he was able to see the SCVs transfer a bit, you know, and the 3rd probably go down. I'm not sure if he actually saw it land. Yeah, he did. Even saw a mule there. So, you know, it's not like Protoss always spends all of their money on units. And yeah, this is what it looks like. This is also the effect I had last year when I tried this build a lot. It's always instantly 4th base, Storm, get your 2-2. Yeah, he's probably definitely going to start his 2-2 when those finish. Pretty sure. Maybe get... Or does he already have Storm? I don't think so. Probably going to get Storm as well. And then you see we have a killer timing attack. 7 minute 40, 150 supply. 1-1. Raven for the anti-armor missiles. If you play against Colossus, you could definitely consider going for the interference matrices on those instead. But as you can see, like, my army is just so much bigger. It's just 72 probes, right? 2-2 on the way. Didn't actually start Storm. But my army is just enormous, you know. If I get an anti-armor missile off, there's no way he would ever win this fight, I think. Obviously not the greatest fight for him, but I don't think there was anything he could have done at this point. He didn't read the build correctly. And I'm just A-moving at this point. Little bit of kiting against the 4 zealots. And that's all it's gonna take for me to win this game. So, yeah, I think it's a pretty simple build. It's very passive. Like, you don't have to do a lot on the map. I feel like it saves a lot of APM. You know, having to do like a mine drop early on or send a liberator or something at the same time as building your production and stuff is very annoying. But this build is literally just to reprint the Hellion to scout. If you don't want to harass with them, you can literally just shift click the Hellion around the base or whatever, you know, to scout. And besides that, you're just passive all the way until the timing attack, and you can just focus on doing your build. Or if that's your thing, then definitely try out this build. It's once again 48 SCV timing, 1-1. All your upgrades here. And that's it. You know, you have those siege tanks, the Widow Mines for the Zealots. Make sure to scan ahead. Just for some Raven usage, some little tips. Make sure to scan ahead to throw the anti-armor missile. Because a lot of the times, when the Protoss attacks in, and you anti-armor missile when they're attacking in and the Zealot charges on your army, you're actually going to end up missiling your own army. So make sure to scan ahead and actually get that anti-armor missile on in time. It's actually a pretty long effect. I feel like it's like 15 seconds or something. So that should be fine to throw it ahead. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this build, and I'm actually curious if you guys are gonna use this and get some wins with this. So make sure to let me know how your successes are with that. And thank you guys for watching. See you guys for the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Adios.